It's Mon Mothma's HoloNet, and we're just posting on it. Welcome back to Mothma News and our 50-day countdown to the Mask of Fear by Alexander Freed. Today's day 24. Wow. And we're talking about No Contingency by Fran Wilde from the From a Certain Point of View anthology for Return of the Jedi. That was a lot of froms in that sentence, and it threw me off, okay? You'll forgive me. So, right from the time that this story got announced, I was so hyped. I was hyped to the level that people around me were getting tired of it. And these people are used to me not shutting up about Mon Mothma. So that was insane that they were like, oh my God, shut up. But it was also very valid of them, because every day I was like, have you reminded yourself that there's a Mon Mothma story that's coming out in this amount of days? And it was like this, except that people could not just close the YouTube app and get rid of me. So from that anthology, for me, there are two stories that are standouts: No Contingency, and then The Steadfast Soldier by Adam Christopher. At another point, I'm going to make a video discussing that. It's going to be long, it's going to be chaotic, it's going to be insane. I might stand on my chair at some point, who knows. Today is not that day, though. No, we're focused on No Contingency, because that is the Mon Mothma story. Full disclosure, when this story was first announced, I was unfamiliar with Fran Wilde and her game and her absolute talent and her general awesomeness. I am no longer unaware. All right, I ride hard. She and I became mutuals on a lot of social media platforms, and I knew very quickly that this story was going to be good. Like, just from her vibes alone. Like, I knew that she had Mon, like, well in hand, that my favorite character was going to be safe, and sometimes I worry, because I'm very particular about the way that Mon Mothma is written and portrayed in Star Wars. Partially because I'm so opinionated, partially because I have trauma from that. Also because some people's takes are really, really bad, and I don't want to be exposed to that. So I have forcibly been exposed to that. People will send me their terrible Mon Mothma takes, and I'm like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. I'm like, oh, you think that? Okay, read this one page from this book and it will refute everything that you said. That's the level we're at. I'm like, there are some people that I cannot stand listening to when they talk about Mon Mothma. I'm like, no, you're not allowed to talk about her. Stop it. So in No Contingency, Mon goes on a mission to acquire intelligence for the rebellion that is vital to the fight to come, which is the Battle of Endor, because this is Return of the Jedi. Do I keep saying Revenge of the Jedi? What year is this? Oh my gosh. I'm surprised George Lucas hasn't come through the window of my office and just punched my lights out if I've been saying Revenge of the Jedi. Whatever. He called it that originally. Return of the Jedi. Unlike in the comic discussed yesterday, there is no active, or at least no more active than usual threat against her life. It's just that kind of passive one where she's got the bounty on her head. The Empire's like, we hate her, we want her dead. It's like, okay, we get it. That bounty's been there for a while and it's never getting cashed in on. And she does this one in secret. Like, nobody knows except for the people that work for her, her little aides. They know. Nobody else knows. She has to go and find a courier droid within a rather tight time frame to extract this information, or the droid will self-destruct and the intel will be lost forever, which, also going into that, it means that the people who died to get this information will have died in vain if Mon does not recover this information, and that is not something she can live with. I don't think that's something that's specifically written in there, but that's the truth. That is 100% the truth of the matter. Yeah. She's been doing this in secret for a while. She's got like these courier droids out there that are just kind of, doing their thing. And this one has decided to let her know, like, oh, yay, I have something. You need to come and get this, even though the droid is supposed to find her. The droid got stuck. It's okay. She's going to go and rescue it. Will it eventually get blown up? Yes, she does have to blow up this droid. But for a good reason, after she gets the information. So, there we go. At one point she notes that even Luthen would have called her actions with these droids paranoid. I kind of have to agree with Luthen. I think that Mon was rash in utilizing the droids in the way that she did, in a way that only she knew about, understood, and would have been able to retrieve the information. However, I do also understand her point of view on this, because she did it at a time where she had so few people that she could trust. So was it a good idea? No, not really. Was it without reason? Also no. Like, I get it. Of course, a prevailing theme throughout this and a lot of other stories is that Mon does not think of herself as a hero. And she still doesn't think of herself as a hero at the end of this, even though she was scrapping with an Imperial probe droid. Like, it's insane. And you know who doesn't really help with that? Admiral Akbar. And I'm not someone who can really even be called an Admiral Akbar fan in general. There are a lot of instances where I don't like how he seems to be thinking that he's, that he knows better than Mon in some situations. And they have very different skill sets. So yeah, like when it comes to like battle stuff, he does technically know better. But there are some instances where I'm just like, okay, but maybe just be nicer to her. She's very small and she's always going through it, so a little bit of kindness, please. And I know that they're very good friends, and I know that his counsel is very important to her, and I appreciate all of those things about him. And I'm not saying that he isn't a very valuable hero to the rebellion. I just think that sometimes it's like a lot of this is caused by the fact that he's overprotective of her. And I understand his urge to be overprotective when it comes to her, because she is their leader, and he's right in acknowledging that her being hurt or killed could be very bad for the rebellion. In some ways, I fear he cares more about her safety than she does. But at times it comes off a little bit like he knows better, and that his word is the final one when it comes to decisions that she wants to make regarding the rebellion. If she's like, oh, I want to go on this mission, he's like, no, actually, no. She's like, oh, I'm gonna read this book, and he's like, no, you could get a paper cut, and she's like, oh. Not specifically, but that's what it feels like sometimes, where he's just, it's too much overprotectiveness sometimes. And I can honestly see him trying to protect her from a paper cut. The sight of Mon bleeding would actually make Admiral Akbar faint. And I think that he's a really great character, and he and Mon are really lucky to have the friendship that they do, because I do think that they push each other to be the very best that they can be. And I don't even think that the overprotectiveness issue is unique to Akbar. I think a lot of them, specifically the men with positions of leadership, like in positions of leadership within the Alliance, have this overprotective streak when it comes to Mon. Like, they're like, oh, Leia can handle herself. Mon, we need to wrap in bubble wrap. No, Mon, no. Okay, come away from the battle. You holding a blaster looks wrong. Leia holding a blaster, that's just her normal state of being, right? And I think that that's a big key difference between Mon and Leia, is that no one in the Alliance is going to turn around and like genuinely tell Leia, no, you're not allowed to go and fight. They might be like, okay, maybe think about this for a little bit longer. Do you really want to go into that fight? They know that the answer is going to be yes. But yeah, there's no stopping Leia, whereas they can very much do what they can to stop Mon from joining the actual like physical aspect of the fight. I get it. I also don't want her in danger, but she isn't a damsel in distress. She is still a grown woman who can take care of herself and can make these decisions. And if she's going to put herself at risk, she knows that she's putting herself at risk, right? She's not trying to murder herself. Sure, she gets attacked by an Imperial probe droid in this short story. She wins. She gets shot at in the Rebellion comic we talked about yesterday. She wins that fight. Sure, she gets shot in Aftermath Life Dead. She survives, right? She keeps on surviving. Like, she is a survivor. Unlike, this is no shade because I love most of them, unlike most of the men who are super overprotective of her. They're dead. Anyways, I remain overprotective of Mon, and unlike these men, I will not die. Mon is immortal, and she will continue on forever. She will never have a canonical death if I can help it. She still does not have one. So, this is how I win. Keep putting Mon in danger. I know that she'll survive. She has an insane amount of plot armor. It's scary. A part that really stands out to me in this story is Mon knows her strengths, logic and statecraft. She does not have Jedi reflexes or Wookiee strength. She has no armor. She is wearing a standard crew vest stained over the heart and now torn at the shoulder too. But she can innovate and plan. The courier is proof of that. Yeah, she doesn't need the reflexes of a Jedi or the strength of a Wookiee. She is more than enough the way that she is. And she is just as needed by the Rebellion. The Rebellion doesn't work because of, like, one type of person. The Rebellion isn't a success because of, say, Luke and his skills, or because of Chewbacca and his skills. It works because there are so many people with all of these different skills working together to make the galaxy a better place. And she will lead them through that. And sure, her skills may not win them specific battles, but the people around her fight because they believe in her abilities and skills. Like, I know it's not technically canon, but in The Force Unleashed, when they're talking about what these specific, like, rebel leaders bring to the cause, Mon Mothma brings the soldiers, right? They fight because they believe in her. And yeah, that's why I would join the Rebellion. And this isn't even, like, unique to The Force Unleashed. There are canon examples of people joining the Rebellion because they believed in Mon Mothma. They literally cite Mon Mothma as one of the reasons that they joined the Rebellion. There's, like, several stories in the From a Certain Point of View anthologies that have characters that are rebels, and their rebel origin story heavily involves Mon Mothma. So even though The Force Unleashed isn't canon, I feel like that detail is technically canon because of the proof that we have for that. We have, in Return of the Jedi, From a Certain Point of View, we have the Chronicler, and then we have one of the stories in Empire Strikes Back, From a Certain Point of View. I can't remember which one. Is it Ion Control? I don't remember. It might be Ion Control, right? But the people around her, and when she interacts with, like, rebels, they adore her, right? Like read Lost Stars and read Thane Kyrell, just trauma dumping on Mon, and she's helping him recover from the fact that he basically gave himself alcohol poisoning. And then later he's like, I'm so sorry, like if you want to kick me out of the Rebellion, like, I completely understand. She's like, okay, first of all, no, I just wanted to make sure that, like, you know that if what you don't want to happen happens, it's going to happen. Like, I need to know that you are in this fight, because, again, like, if he's not fully in the fight, he is going to end up dead on the battlefield. If he freezes up because he's so worried about killing Ciena, he's going to die. And, you know, she cares about her pilots, her people, and that's why the people follow her. That is why that's one of the reasons why she is their leader, right? And yeah, it's also, like, another part is a leader cannot lead if they will not also sacrifice, and that is wildly true. Mon has been sacrificing for the cause for about a quarter of a century at this point. We're undoubtedly going to see her sacrifice more in Andor Season 2 and the Reign of the Empire trilogy. which kicks off with The Mask of Fear. And then the third one is being written by Fran Wilde, if I remember correctly. I think it's the third. I could not be more excited to have a reason to keep going until 2027 when I get to read this book. Yeah, so essentially, if you've not read this short story, I highly recommend reading it. I highly recommend reading a lot of Star Wars books, especially if you are interested in the concept of like why these rebels join the rebellion, why they believe in Mon Mothma. Like, again, I'm gonna have the full list of her appearances up on the blog at some point. Right, this just like goes into, it's essentially the annotated bibliography. Let's not pull hairs here. Yeah, and it will essentially be like every single title or series that she is in, and like what that piece explores, without spoilers. Just read Star Wars. It will make life easier to survive. It will get you through a lot of things. You might not be happy, you might suffer a little bit, but the community that reads Star Wars books is awesome, and they will not judge you for crying. So yeah, read the books, they're awesome. Tomorrow is day 25 of the countdown, bringing us to the halfway point, and it's a very special day for that reason, and the other reason, because we're discussing something that we've been dancing around the last couple of days. We're finally talking about Return of the Jedi. The Mon debut. So we'll see you then for that. Thank you.